Great skills again by him. Oh, marvellous goal by Lundgren.
Welcome to the Rangers Journey.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Rangers Journal on this Sunday, the 15th of February, after a Rangers victory of our Hearts, 4-2. Rangers love to do things the easy way, so it transpired in this game. Joke. To join me today to talk over what was a thrilling encounter, and not always for the best reasons, I've got Marty. How you doing, mate?
Fine, thank you. It's nice to be back again. It's been a few days since I've been on, so glad to come back in nice with a winning result as well, especially for the armed forces that were there to see us go and win in the style we did. It was nice to see.
Yes, well, obviously we got to see the usual that they do when they bring in the match ball by parasailing off of the stadium at breakneck speed, and the game started at breakneck speed, Marty, with the teams really going at things. It was a real back and forth affair in the first half, and unfortunately, it was Hearts that came well for to begin with. Of all the games for us to again return to those brain fart defensive moments, we had another one with Fernandez and Raskin totally losing communication with one another. Raskin literally turns away the second that Fernandez passes the ball to him, which leads to Hearts getting sneaking in on the break, and then admittedly a decent strike from the lad, but a goal entirely made by our own failings.
Yeah, I mean, I actually felt a little bit sorry for Fernandez, because you could see what he's trying to do, but it's quite poor from Raskin to turn his back to him like that, and obviously that's then given the Hearts players the opportunity. But like you says, that it was a cracking goal that was taken well, so credit for Hearts. But again, like you've mentioned, sloppy at the back, and it's cost us yet again. Thankfully, it didn't cost us the 3 points, but we shouldn't be making those kind of errors.
Absolutely, and luckily enough, it wasn't long until we equalised, a goal on the 18th minute, which initially I thought wasn't a Nadiri, but it is actually an own goal. A good bit of play, a nice pass and move. Excuse me, breathing in a little bit of dust there. Nice pass and move on the left side. Leads to Roman's cross, which goes in. Chermiti rises well. Gets his head to the ball, but there's a decent save from Swallow and the Hearts goal. The ball comes out to Moore, who does quite well to get his foot up and round the ball to get a secondary shot in that hits off the bar, and then comes down into the defensive area. And Nadiri nips in, puts the pressure on their, I think it was their left back that had come on, and he just slices it into their own goal. So immediately we were back to 1-1, and it kind of, for me, I think that was really important that we got that goal quickly. So it kind of helped, got the crowd immediately obviously back on side, and ensured that the momentum stayed kind of balanced between the two teams.
Yeah, at that point it was quite an open game. There could have been a goal at either end. Obviously, they'd just got their goal, but they started the game quite well. So to respond as quickly as we did, I think, as you said, it was definitely needed. Otherwise, you'd have expected the Rangers' heads to go down like we've seen before. So it was an important goal, and it was an important time as well. So credit to Rangers for fighting back so strongly and so quickly, and Nadiri putting the pressure on the defender to get that goal. I think it was a case of the defender had to get to the ball no matter what he done, because Nadiri was there to put it in. So Absolutely. It was unfortunate for the defender to swipe it like he did, but at the end of the day, a goal's a goal, and if it wasn't for him doing that, Nadiri would have been there to take it anyway.
That's it. So 1-1, we went into the meat of the first half, and just on this 28th minute, there was a penalty shout. Scott Olsen attacking from the right-hand side in the box, knocks the ball round to the Hearts defender, who kind of does that classic little, just kind of leaves your hip out slightly. Does bump Olsen a little bit. He goes down. The referee, however, decides to book Olsen for a dive. What was your thoughts on that one?
Well, I don't think it was a penalty, because if it was, it'd have been rather soft, and I certainly think if it was the other way around, we'd have been raging if it'd been given as a penalty. So I think it would have been soft if it was given. But I agree with it being a free kick for Hearts, but I certainly wouldn't have warranted a yellow card for that, because it wasn't like it was a deliberate dive to the ground like we've seen previously from other players. So it was a strange decision from the referee to give a yellow for it, but the right decision come good in the end.
Yeah, I thought it was a little bit harsh. I felt that could have just been given as a bad kick. As I say, it was for me. It was one of those. There's a little bit of contact, not enough for maybe Olsen to go down quite like he did, but I wouldn't have gone quite so far as to say it was a dive. Just one of those ones for me. But as I say, it was what it was. And unfortunately, almost straight after that, Hearts go 2-1 up again. Cross into the box from the right hand side, and Suter is, just have to say, he's just really weak. He's on the wrong side of Braga, who's in front of him. He's weak in getting up to the ball, and again, I have to credit Braga with an excellent header that kind of loops right across into the opposite corner. And I say Hearts 2-1 up, but again, in part down to our frailties rather than their excellence.
Yeah, I would have expected Suter to do a little bit better there. I was a little bit disappointed the fact that he let the player back into him like that. But credit to the boy, it was a well taken header, and I don't think Butler was going to get to that. Hence why he was rooted to the spot. So a brilliant header from the Hearts player, but poor from Suter. He's experienced enough to know not to let a player back into him like that.
Absolutely. Again, it took a little bit longer this time, but we did get back into the game once again. This time just before the 40th minute, Chermiti is fed by Nadiri, gets past his defender. A little bit of luck on our side for a change, which after the terrible bits of defending was nice. The ball comes off. I think it was Halkett, the defender, stays in Chermiti's path, and he slots it away quite nicely to make it 2-2 before the break.
Yeah, it was a nice bit of build-up play from Rangers, if I remember correctly. For once in that first half, there was quite a few players that were prepared to do a quick ball rather than the slow passing across the back that we seem to be doing a lot. So it was well worked, and obviously it came from an error from their part. But you want your main strikers up there and prepared to take anything, and obviously Chermiti was there to collect the error and put the ball behind them and score his goal.
Absolutely. So we went into the halftime at deadlock. Were you looking to see any changes in the second half in terms of personnel? We had there was a lot of back and forth in our various group chats about players who we felt should come off and who should come on. Was there anything in particular you were hoping to see?
I thought Olsen had quite a poor first half, really. So I was expecting him to possibly be pulled, but outside of that, I think it was just a case of making sure that he tells the defenders what he expects from them, and he obviously did that because they seemed a little bit more assured in the second half, and I think we were a little bit slow to push forward in the first half. We were just playing like counter-attack football against counter-attack football at times. So I think we needed to control the ball a little bit better, and I think that's possibly what Danny says to them at half-time. So for me, I wouldn't have made any changes, possibly Olsen, but obviously that come good in the second half. So right decision made from Danny at half-time.
Yep, absolutely. I was the same. I kind of felt Olsen was a little bit anonymous in the first half, bar that sort of penalty incident where he gets booked. Let's say he has a much better second half, thankfully, but that I was the same. That would have been the one change I might have made. But the team came back out. Hearts did make some changes, altered their shape slightly. Rangers came out the same. Hearts kind of went to that back three and went man to man and did start to wrestle a bit more control of the game in the first sort of 10 minutes of the first half, but then just after that we go ahead for the first time in the match. Big Chermiti once again with a lovely header, this from a Skol Olsen cross in from the box into the near post. Chermiti gets in front of his man, gets nice and up, gets his neck behind it, and bullets the header into the goal to put us 3-2 to the good.
Yeah, it was a good job that Olsen was left on, really, because that was a nice little dink. You could obviously see Chermiti running in, but to leap like he did and get that header in, that's got to have been up there with the Hearts header as well. So it's nice to see that we're actually getting something from our most expensive player in the team. So it was a brilliantly well timed taken header to run onto it like that and bullet it past the keeper. Brilliant header.
Absolutely, and after that, there was a period there of, I think, of real Rangers dominance. We were on top. We were getting a lot of chances. We were really, it looked like we really tried to press the game. Unlike at Motherwell, where I never felt that we really got a grip on the game, which obviously led to ultimately to us again losing that equaliser. But in this game, I thought we looked a lot more aggressive and looked like we really wanted to try and win the match.
Yeah, it was what I was expecting us to play like in the first half, controlling the ball and controlling the tempo of the game, letting Hearts do the run and chasing it. So again, a little bit late into the game for me, but once we got ahead, I think that was where the guys, especially the more experienced guys, realised that, right, we can control this game now. And obviously that's where they decided that we were going to play a little bit differently from what I've seen. It wasn't so much of the look for the long pass, because there was quite a few of those. It was more short, quick passing, which is what I prefer to see, because that's when we can break down teams.
Absolutely. You mentioned experience there. After the goal, we took off Sterling, put on James Tavernier. Sterling, I think, getting his 60 minutes that he kind of gets restricted to when he's coming back from injuries or from gaps off. And we went on to make a couple of other changes throughout that kind of period. We did start around about, as we sort of approached the 80th minute, Hearts started to come back into the game. We started to look a bit leggy. So he did make more substitutions. Again, I thought his substitutions were much better in this game than they were at Motherwell. He brings on Diomande and Ant-Man for Scott Olsen and Nadiri. And then later on, around about 87th, he makes what will be a consequential substitute as he takes off Mikey Moore, who kind of really run himself into the ground. A good effort from him today, and brings on Gassama. And then within a couple of minutes, Gassama is really the main architect of our fourth goal as he gets the ball inside our own half, and goes on what has been a classic kind of run for Gassama. He runs at pace, he breaks past players, he cuts in on the ball. But this time, where so often he loses it or makes a mistake or passes the wrong way, this time he finds the perfect pass to Chermiti at the back post, who's all on his own, and he slips it home for our fourth and his first career hat-trick.
Yeah, it was a brilliant run from Gassama. I mean, to run like he did, I mean, it was a good, half the pitch. And to actually, Absolutely. For a change, like you mentioned, lift his head up and find the pass, and for it to be completed as well. It seems to be rare at the moment from him. So that was nice. And obviously, Chermiti at the back post just waiting there, and obviously that then seals his hat-trick. So yeah, it was nice to see that the two players can link up, and obviously Gassama's not just going to run at them and then eventually either lose the ball or take a shot. So it was obviously important to Gassama to give Chermiti that opportunity to get his hat-trick, and well done to him to getting his first professional career hat-trick.
Absolutely. There's a lot of, I think, great performances in that match, particularly throughout the second half. I thought both the forwards were excellent. Chermiti and Nadiri were full of running all game. They were battling. They had a lot of good touches on the ball. Hold up was good. And having Nadiri there alongside, I think, really made a big difference in that front line, because it wasn't just Chermiti that was doing all that work, and it also meant that when one of them was maybe dropping, you had the other one pushing on. You saw quite a few times. I think Trimiti was tended to be the one that would drop more often, and Nadiri would be further up, and chasing down their men and running, and certainly like when Nadiri subbed off, you could see the absolute sweat on his face and the effort that he put in today. So I really feel the choice to have the two of them up front really paid off today from in terms of the decisions from Danny Rowe.
Yeah, it was a refreshing change to have two strikers on the pitch at the same time and not just rely on it in the second half when we're needing a goal. And obviously they've built somewhat of a relationship between the two of them where they know if one goes, the other one stays. So it seems to be the start of what could be a potential good partnership where the pair of them can get goals from each other. So here's hoping that not just Chermiti gets goals, but Nadiri gets goals as well, because I think that was the only thing missing from his performance today. He was linking up play well, but unfortunately he didn't get a goal. And as you said, you could see he worked hard by the sweat that was pouring off him when he came off. It's the same, a little bit the same with Moore as well. Done a lot of the hard graft that isn't getting much credit for, but again, put a shift in, done what he needed to do for us, and obviously was subbed off. But going from the two at the front, again, it's a partnership that hopefully we'll see flourish.
Absolutely, I would agree with that one. I'd say a lot of good players overall. If you were to have to pick a Chermiti of the match, who would you pick?
The header goal, and his performance to make that run and get that header. That's the kind of Chermiti that I want to see for Rangers. I don't want this vacant player that occasionally links up play, but takes shots that we expect to go and what is then quite a poor finish. So if we could get Chermiti like we had tonight with that header, I'd be quite happy to see that going forward.
Absolutely, I thought he had a complete game today. His hold-up play was excellent. His tackling was good. He was all over the pitch. His defensive work was excellent, and obviously to get a hat trick in a game that we had to win, where we needed our striker scoring goals, he came through. So he gets my man of the match for that as well. Obviously, this win takes us to within 2 points of Hearts in the title race now. It's it was a game that was marked as one that would be huge for the title run in. Celtic obviously, unfortunately, ended their game 3-2 after Kilmarnock being 2-0 up. So they sit just a point behind us, and also with a game in hand. So there's obviously there will be more twists and turns yet, but how big a result do you think that is for the team in terms of confidence and, as I say, going forward, maybe just being that little bit more positive in games? There's been games like Motherwell where, as I say, we've maybe lacked that aggression, lacked that little extra oomph that we clearly get when we're at home. I thought, after massive shout out to the crowd today, who were loud throughout and really got behind the team, I think that made a big difference. How important do you think that result is to, as I say, helping us push forward and what's going to be a really tight title run-in?
I think it was really important. I mean, I think what will be taken from the game is the fact that we didn't just win, but we won in style in the end against what's been the long-time league leaders this season. So to not just have a win, but to win in the style we did, where it's not a scrappy game where we're being pinned back. I think that's going to be the important part that Danny will take from it, and he'll try and drum into the players if they can put in that kind of performance that we've seen in the second half and make sure we put games to bed rather than just sitting at 1-0 or 2-1. We need to make sure that we've got at least a good couple of goals. I think that's where we'll start to get the more positive results, and that will keep the fans on side. Obviously, the fans were given a great game to watch today, but obviously that second half was more important for us. And to have the games that we've had against Hearts so far this season and not get the results, to then put in a performance like that shows that we are capable of it. We just need to do it against the lower teams in the league.
Absolutely, absolutely. Very quickly before we finish off, Paul's asking about Mikey Muir today. I thought Muir was good without maybe having the decisiveness he's had in some other games, but his work rate is without doubt. I think he's an excellent example to young players. He always puts in a good effort, regardless of how he's playing. And as I say, I thought he was good today. He was all over the pitch. Made a few decent chances. Obviously, hit the crossbar when we got our second goal. So. A decent performance, but there's still room for more. He had a couple of good passes that didn't quite come off, but the effort, I think, is important, because we've got other players that sometimes I think when they don't play well, they don't necessarily have that same effort in there. And if you're not going to have your best game, at least put in your best effort. So that's what I would say about him. The team will be back on Monday, where they'll go through the game in more detail. And we'll obviously touch on the match and a bit more things. The last things you'd like to add about the game today, Matty?
Unlucky for Tavernier towards the end. He seemed to miskick the ball, otherwise he'd have had to tap in, so that would have made it an even bigger goal difference for us. So unfortunate for him. But yeah, it was a good performance, and I really, really hope this is the turning point in the season where we actually put in decent performances and we don't just scrape these 1-0 wins that we've been having quite a few of. We need to start making sure we're putting games to bed. So I'm hoping this win today against the league leaders is that turning point for us.
Absolutely. I'll leave it on this point from Recovery Man. It's all to play for. It absolutely is. And Kevin Thelwell, all's forgiven. Chermiti was worth every penny. Thanks for watching tonight. Thanks for Marty for joining me. Thanks to the Bluebells Bar for sponsoring us this evening. If you're in Lanzarote, give them a look. Tell them Rangers Journal sent you. You can have a great pint there while watching the game in the sun. Thanks to everyone in the comments who've been putting all your thoughts in and giving us something to chat about and bring up on screen. As I say, we'll be back next week with another week full of great content. So do, if you're not already, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button if you haven't already as well. And just remember that every night is a Rangers Channel night. Enjoy it.